Hey guys. This week on the podcast, I'm doing something a little bit different. As many of you know, we've been talking a lot about this on social media and in my newsletters and on the podcast and everything else. We have been hard at work doing a major upgrade/overhaul of the Simple Sales Blueprint for the last couple of months. We've been working on this. We're rolling out new features. It feels like daily these days, and things are so exciting over in that little corner of my business. It has been since February of 2022, that I have made any major changes to the course. And the course didn't need major changes at its core, but there were a lot of features that I felt like could use more examples. I felt like the calculator needed a big upgrade. I had better tools for that. I have better tools for the emails and everything else. Like, I just knew that there were some changes that I could make that would make it a much better end user experience for you as my students. And so we've been working on that, and I'm just so excited to be kind of getting these things out in the world. And so in the meantime, the podcast has been a little more interview heavy. You may have noticed that. And I have been keeping everything going, and that's been good. But this week, I realized I wanted to do a show about simple sales for those of you who either don't know anything about it, or maybe it's been a while since you revisited the topic, or maybe you are a simple sales user. But in that case, it's always nice to sort of hear a little bit about like what it is that you do versus what it is that I do, because of course, everybody modifies the simple sales system a little bit to fit their own business. And so I was planning on putting together an episode, and then it occurred to me that I recorded a conversation with a woman back in December who is a student of mine. Her name is Mackenzie, and she was sharing her simple sales experience, and she did such an amazing job of it that I ended up making it part of the 10-part mini-series that I have out there. It's its own podcast. It's called The Simple Sales System for Photographers. You can like search for it on Apple. This is episode 2. The conversation that I'm sharing with you today is, I put it sort of at the beginning to set the tone for everything that you learn in that mini series, because I share the 6 steps of the system. I share, why certain things work, why certain things don't work, what kind of modifications people make. And I do share some client stories. This is the one that I share in the beginning of the series. And I really feel like it does a great job showing a realistic picture of what simple sales can look like in somebody's business other than mine. So instead of trying to, tell simple sales story again, I know many of you have heard me do that over the years. I wanted to let this be someone else's voice, and Mackenzie felt like the perfect person to do it. So without further ado, I will cue the music and play that episode. And if you want more where that came from, I highly encourage you to check out the Simple Sales for Photographers mini series. Again, you can find that on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. We also have it in video form on YouTube. And if you're interested in checking that out, I'll put that in the show notes as well. So I hope you enjoy, and then I'll be back in your earbuds with a brand new show next week.
Welcome to This Can't Be That Hard. My name is Anami Tonkin, and I help photographers run profitable, sustainable businesses that they love. Each week on the podcast, I cover simple, actionable strategies and systems that photographers at every level of experience can use to earn more money in a more sustainable way. Running a photography business doesn't have to be that hard. You can do it, and I can show you how.
All right. So Mackenzie, you come from an all-inclusive background. Is that correct?
I do, yes. From the very get-go, I was all-inclusive.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about, how long that was and how that went and why you started in all-inclusive.
I was freelancing photography in 2018. I left my job. My husband and I moved to Singapore, and the work visa situation was strange over there. So I was like, okay, well, this is a great time to start freelancing. I wasn't into families yet, but I was doing like some editorial and some food. So that was like a flat rate, all inclusive, which was a little bit easier to price than families. So then when we moved from Singapore to Cleveland, then I started my family business here, and all inclusive just felt like the easiest way to go. Like I really didn't have a ton of information on like how I should be pricing myself. And so I just thought, all right, well, we'll see how this goes. Tale as old as time. It did not go well. You put so much work into it. And then it feels like it's a constant hustle. So I was doing that 2018 to 2023 when I got into the blueprint and launched my my new pricing.
Got it. Cool. So tell me a little bit about that transition. Like, how did you find out about Simple Sales? What made you, what was it that was inspiring you to go out and actually look for alternatives to what you were doing?
I had a particularly busy 2022 fall, and I had a little one, and then I had a little one on the way. So I'm like, okay, this just I felt wrecked at the end of fall, and it didn't feel like I could maintain it. I feel like I just had to do a lot of hands-on gallery delivery and question answering and emailing and link sending and all of that. So I'm like, okay, I have to find an alternative for this. This is not working. I am like an education junkie, and I like to research a lot. So I'm like, all right, I got to find something that's going to help me on the pricing end of things and the systems end of things. So I just scoured like all of my photography Facebook groups, and you kept popping up. And I did listen to your podcast, and I watched the masterclass, and I think I watched it the first time. It might have been the end of the summer in 2022. And I just was not ready to pull the trigger yet. And I had a particularly bad experience where I invested a good chunk of money in a photography business course, and it just did not do it for me. It did not move the needle for my business. So I was a little hesitant, but after I kept seeing your name pop up and listening to the podcast and hearing other people talk about the results that they had, I'm like, okay, it's time to just try it. So I purchased end of 2022, the class, and then was ready to launch in March of 23. I was on maternity leave. And so March, I was like, all right, this is when I'm going to launch the new pricing. And I did that. I went through the course pretty quickly, gobbled it up. It was really, really good. Interesting. The spreadsheet that you have is mind blowing. Loved it. Made
so
everything
when you say
so
the spreadsheet, do you mean the calculator?
The calculator.
I mean,
yes,
it is a
yes,
spreadsheet based calculator,
yes,
but
yes.
yeah.
The calculator. Yeah. I was like, oh, you're a genius for figuring that one out.
Thanks.
So I just feel like that made it super simple. Once I got into it, it's felt so much more manageable, seeing how you had everything laid out and all the systems laid out, and how you've worked with PickTime to make it really, really easy for your students and people to access it and implement it on the back end.
Nice. So you went through the course, you launched in, sounds like the beginning-ish of 2023. Yeah. And what were your, did you have any fears or concerns as you were getting ready to launch, as you were getting ready? I mean, you had an established business, it sounds like, for 4-ish years. I feel like a lot of people have concerns about how is it going to be received or that sort of thing. Was any of that going through your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just think the biggest concern for me was my past clients not wanting to pay the pricing, because while my base collection is similar to what my initial all-inclusive pricing was, it was you're getting a lot less for that price. So I was worried that people would see that and be like, well, I paid her this last year, I'm not going to pay this year.
Sure. And
I did have a couple of those, but for the most part, people came, they were coming back. I had new clients that were not balking at the price, and they were like, okay. And to me, I think we all struggle with that imposter syndrome where you're like, people are really going to pay this for pictures from me? And so that was my main concern. And I mean, hindsight 2020, it should not have been, but you never know when you're venturing into something new like that, how it's going to be perceived. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Good. Well, I always say it's one of those things where it's easier said than done. I can sit here and talk until I'm blue in the face about the people who leave, that was meant to be, and you have to, let that go, whatever.
They're not the people for you. Yeah.
But I've been there many times where I'm sitting there kind of staring at my new whatever pricing guide or sales page or whatever, and just thinking, is this going to be, the straw that breaks the camel's back? And it's not going to work.
Right.
So good. I'm glad that you had a good return or response rate, rather, on that. Okay.
I did.
Yeah. And my understanding was that you kind of soft launched.
I did.
And then sort of took it. So let's talk about, over the course of the last year, how it kind of came together. Because when we're recording this, it's the end of the year. You've been running this for about a year. Talk to me about what you're seeing now that you're looking at a year's worth of data.
Yeah, I mean, short story, I've made more money than I ever have in the 4 years I've been in business. And I feel like I've done like maybe half, 75% of the work. It's just, I can take on less clients and make the same amount or more, in this case, a lot more money. And I'm seeing like it's so much more hands off with the simple sales system when I can go into pick time and I send the gallery and then I'm like, okay, I don't have to go back and forth and do emails unless like they're obviously having an issue or need help with something. But it's like all automated and I don't have to touch it, which is amazing. I've got 2 little kids at home. And so I don't have a ton of time to be sitting in front of my computer. And the time I do have, I'm like, all right, I got to edit this session. I got to do this social media, but all of the admin backend stuff that needs to get done. So it's just, I'm blown away when I looked at my analytics and pick time and I'm like, oh my gosh, just product sales alone, that I just never could have imagined that would have happened. And I posted on the Facebook group about that. I had a 10K month. Never, ever, ever did I think that I would have a 10K month. And I was just like absolutely blown away.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I didn't feel burnt out like I did the year before. It just felt a lot easier, seamless. I mean, I was busy. Everybody is busy in the fall.
Yeah.
It's the plight of us photographers, but it just felt a lot more manageable to be able to kind of like, all right, edit, send, and then everybody else, my clients get to do the work. They get to pick what they want, and I don't have to get my hands in the pot with that. I've had incredible results this year. I can't wait to see what happens next year. It's been a great investment in my business.
That's amazing.
I don't know why I waited so long. Yeah.
Oh, I am a look forward, not backward kind of a person. The only reason to look backward is to sort of see, is there anything that I can learn from this going forward? So that's wonderful.
Yeah,
well,
for sure.
Talk to me a little bit about, let's do a bit of make-believe. Were there other options that you were considering when you were saying to yourself, like, what I'm doing isn't working? And, where do you feel like you'd be if you had gone in a different direction?
Yeah, I think there's several paths. So if I would have kept on the all-inclusive, doing what I was doing, keeping my pricing the same, I don't know how long I would be doing this still. It's just really time consuming. So it didn't seem manageable. It wasn't profitable for me at the end of the day. And then at the other end of the spectrum, I didn't want to do IPS because like I said, have 2 small kids at home and I don't have the time to do that. Nor do I really want to do that. I'm not like a in-your-face salesy. I don't like that type of environment. And I don't ever want to make my clients feel like I'm trying to push them into something that they don't want to do.
Right.
So this felt like a really happy medium. I mean, I think the other alternative to this would have been to raise my prices. But then I just feel like you really don't give your clients many options. And I like that the simple sales blueprint gives them options. Like if they need to purchase the lowest collection because that's what fits with their budget, but they still really want to work with me, they can do that. Mm-hmm. And if they have the budget for the higher end, they can do that too. And they're getting, everything in between. They get to go pick the products that they really like. I just think it gives a lot of flexibility both for me and my clients. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I love that too. We all want to feel like we have options. And when it comes to all inclusive, it really is. It's like all or none. Are you in or are you out?
This is what you get. Yep.
Yeah. So good.
There's no middle ground with that. So
I love it. So tell me or tell our listeners, if they are sort of in the process of considering the blueprint or simple sales in general, do you have any words of advice, or are there people that you think it really makes sense for or doesn't make sense for?
I think it makes sense for everyone. Even the second story edition. So I will occasionally shoot births. And even that, before I had gotten into the blueprint and got into that specific lesson, I'm like, well, how is that going to work? And you put it in a way that it explains it so well. And it really helps to, if you are the type of person that's doing wedding or birth or something like more long form, that you can do it. You can use the blueprint for that as well. But yes, if anyone is considering it, run and buy it now. It is investment that you can make for your business. I will never look back. It's incredible. It's done so much for me. It's given me time back in my life with my kids, with my family. So highly recommend to anyone.
Well, I love that. And I love that you were willing to take the time. I know you, as we got on the call, you were like, yeah, my 9-month-old is napping right now.
He's still sleeping.
Yeah. So I appreciate you taking the time in between all of the other things that you've got going on.
Yeah.
But I know that this kind of information really helps people when they're in the process of making their own decisions. So I will let you get back to your little one, but thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for all the amazing resources that you put out for everyone. You are fantastic. Best educator.
Oh, thank you. You made my day.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, thank you so much.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of This Can't Be That Hard. I'll be back same time, same place next week. In the meantime, you can find more information about this episode, along with all the relevant links, notes, and downloads at thiscan'tbethathard.com/learn. If you like the podcast, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Even better, share the love by leaving a review in iTunes. And as always, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic week.